Hello and welcome to the Jers TV after a really frustrating game. Rangers won, Braga won. Gordy, how are you feeling after that, mate?
Disappointed. I'm just going to spend a wee minute doing some shares, etc., as we like to do.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'll get back to the wee second, but I'll just say my last couple of words to start off with. Frustrated, disappointed, and you think you put in the destruction of the show tonight. Massive opportunity blown, disappointment. So, I'll let you do a
yeah,
quick summary while I do some wee sharing, and then we'll get
yeah.
back to it.
I think I put it in the title there. Missed opportunity, a massive missed opportunity. I mean, how would we go from being 1-0 up, them down to 10 men, to just absolutely fucking this up? Like we have just completely shot ourselves in the foot, and I mean, now it's completely over in terms of us being able to qualify for the next round in Europe. And you're just thinking, how far away are we from where we have been in recent seasons? I mean, like we in seasons gone by, we'd be battering steams down to 10 men. It would have been 4 or 5 past this, and they were extremely poor as well. I mean, they hardly created anything apart from a couple of chances in the first half. They hardly created anything. But then Nasajiga just like, oh, great assist.
It's hard
But
not to say, isn't it? We're trying not to swear it is. It's really, really difficult not to.
like at this point in time, it's just like, what are we watching, mate? Like, this is absolutely pathetic. Like, this is beyond acceptable. This is just not like what are we doing? Like if me if I'm at the club, if I'm in any position of seniority and I can make decisions at the club, I'll be sending Jigger back to Wolves in January immediately because he's adding no value. He's literally costing us games. He's costing us money from his performances in Europe, which is a massive opportunity for the club to gain money. He's not adding anything. The same with Max Aarons. I don't feel like he adds anything. Zero value added. Get him to fuck. Get him back to freaking where did we get him from? Was it Bournemouth? Bournemouth. Get him to
Oh,
back to Bournemouth.
Aaron's
I mean, he's going to find himself next year mid-table championship club in the English Championship, and that's his level. Have fun, mate. Just enjoy it. But you cannot play in games like this where you have to win. Not a single person on that pitch I felt like was playing like we had to win. It was almost as if, oh well, a draw is acceptable. I mean, obviously we went down to 10 men towards the end, but in that period where they had equalised and they were still down to 10 men, what did we create, Gordy?
Well, break it down a bit further. I think in the first half, up towards the last 10 minutes, Butland's kept us in the game with a couple of great saves. And we didn't start particularly. I thought we started okay, to be fair. Then Braga came into it, and then they had a couple of chances. Butler's made a couple of really, really good saves. And I think, but it's horrible to say because he's our goalkeeper, but he has been our best player this season. He's made a couple of mistakes. Still, he had one mistake, I think I remember. But and then the goal that Celtic scored in the cup semi-final, you think could he have saved it maybe, but overall he's been our best player. And see when you're playing for, see when it's Rangers and your keeper's your best player, that's a real big concern. Aiden's has come in tonight. We said at the start of the show, the preview show, that we get defenders that can't defend. Aaron's is not a natural defender. Tavernier's not a natural defender. Even when Aaron's was getting forward, it takes that he has to go onto his right hand side. So it's an extra second. It's an extra second when he's going across the ball. He's given the ball away a couple of times. They've not scored, but he's given the ball away. It's a mentality thing. We don't seem to want to go on the front foot. It's almost as if we want a setback in every single game. It's like I can't remember, apart from Victoria Pilsen at home, I can't remember a game this season where we scored a goal and then went on to win 2, 3, or 4-0. Because it's all, and the only time, there's been a couple of times where we've come on and played well against Celtic with 10 men, but that's only after we've had a setback. I don't know what our team's mentality where we have to suffer some sort of trauma or some sort of setback in a game to click and to start playing, because Braga went down to 10 men and we should have destroyed them 2 or 3-0, but it was pedestrian, lackluster. And I know I've been talking for a while, so I can't say I'm lost for words, but I'm lost
Gordy, mate,
in a sense that I can't explain it.
Who's scoring the goals for us? I mean, Tav is our top goal scorer. He's fucking 34, mate. Like, who is scoring the goals for us this season? Because you look at Shimiti, and my uncle, he's a season ticket holder. He was texting me during the game. He's like, this is probably Shimiti's best game. I'm like, Shimiti's best game, he's kept himself busy, but you know for a fact, right? If Shimiti's going one-on-one, he's got 10 one-on-ones in the game. How many of those 10 one-on-ones do you expect him to score? I have absolutely zero confidence in him scoring a goal for us. You know, how long has he been here for now? And
he's played. So I'm the stats man for Jersey when it comes to these strikers. Okay, so that's now over 600 minutes of football he's played for Rangers. He scored 1 goal. If you take our strikers as a strike force, that's now between them 49 appearances with 6 goals. And that's 12.2%, 12%. So 12% of games our strikers are scoring.
If we do not go and buy a new striker in January, then we've just said, you know, we've given the season away, because it's not sustainable. You know, we need to be able to shore up at the back. Giga's mistake for the goal. I mean, what is he even doing? Why is he under the ball? So like you could see in the slow motion when I saw the replay, he stands there and then sort of jumps backwards rather than taking a few steps back and heading it away. It's like, it's basic stuff that you'd be annoyed watching an under-12s match and your son being in that match and making that mistake, let alone a professional footballer making a mistake like that, just handing them the goal. But then it's even that, like, there's no reaction in this team. It's 1-1, they're still down to 10 men, we've got that man advantage. But then what? What are we doing? Like, we're not creating anything. There's no patterns of play. The players aren't good enough. It's as simple as that. They weren't good enough under Russell Martin. He wasn't good enough. But even under Danny Roll now, the players still aren't good enough. You know? And if we need to see the biggest January transfer window that we've ever had to turn this around, because it's beyond pathetic. Some of these players running around that pitch, walking around that pitch, you're thinking you are not good enough. You have no idea what it means to play for this club. And to get to this level that we're at now, compared to even just last season, we would have won that game 4-0. Easily won that game 4-0, because they were absolute garbage. But we could not capitalize on it. You know, I was watching the them lot play earlier on when they beat Feyenoord 3-1, and I was thinking Feyenoord are the worst team I've ever seen. I've seen in this Europa League this season. Then I thought, actually, no, we're the fucking worst team that I've seen in this Europa League this season. We're even worse than them. You know, which is just embarrassing considering where we've been in recent seasons. I can't honestly. We have got to turn up on Sunday and start just picking up the 3 points, because that's all we've got to hang our hat on this season. You know, previous seasons is all European form, but now it's like we have an opportunity in the league. Can we take advantage of it? You know, but we won't unless we make serious signings in January, because I look at the likes of Shimiti, Asgard came on. I mean, did he impact anything at all? I mean, Adnan came on. Did he touch the ball?
He's won. Yeah, so I was going to touch on a few points, just pick up on what you said. Don't disagree with anything you said. When it comes to these games, I look for other little signs and little pointers as well about how it's going. Scott Martin does a comment there saying very bad again tonight, lads. Yeah, yeah. But there's I feel as if I'm saying it week in, week out, and I'm trying to find new insights for the show. Right, I'm really trying to analyze it a different way, find new insights. But it's the same stuff every week, so it's difficult. I don't want to talk about our strikers not scoring goals, right? But it's week in, week out. But there's a few things, you know, through the game. See, when you watch the Rangers game and see, you don't really see it, and you know, as it live as it happens, right? But see, when you watch it back and you look at highlights, you look at replays, you look at passages of play. We've got so many passengers at any given time. At throw-ins, No one's looking for the ball at throw-ins. When it's a free kick, how many times have we been caught out by a free kick, a quick free kick? I've not seen us take one quick free kick, in about 5 years, right? No one's looking for the ball. Asgard comes on and he gets. Do you know what the most frustrating thing is? There was one opportunity. It was one time where he actually had a run for 30 yards and drove forward and beat a couple of players. It was brilliant to watch. But why is he not doing? I don't understand why he's not doing that. He's got that to do. Sharmiti, as you said a minute ago, put himself about the place. It's almost as if he's trying to make up for the fact he can't score by doing all that stuff. And it's like I'm in group chats and people are saying, "Oh, this is Sharmiti's best game." It's like, how bad does he have to play if that is his best game? Because I don't want a striker to be. I want a striker to win some headers, but it's almost as if they're making up for deficiencies by doing all that stuff. It's like, and Danilo had a chance. It just summed up, but he just hits it straight at the keeper. These are guys that we paid 5 million and 8 million for. It's not guys we've got for free to take a chance on or take a gamble on them. It's and we're paying them 30 grand a week.
How much have we spent on after these strikers that we've got in Danilo? Close to 20 million on 3 players that can't score a goal.
That's just transfer fees. I'm not in wages. Danilo's been on 30 grand for 3 years. We are paid Danilo £7-8 million in wages, and he scored a total of about 10 goals. We're on about £750,000 a goal. I mean, he scored 1 in 600 minutes, and Mayosi scored 2 in 4 months. It's like between them. This is what I made a comment on the show a couple weeks ago. I get slagged off for pointing out the truth, but the simple truth is between them, and if you add in if you take the last 3 years. Like 3, 4, 5 calendar years, they scored about 9 goals between them.
It's honestly, it's pathetic. It is. How we spent this amount of money on them as well is beyond belief. Stuart McDonald here saying no attack, no offense. 3 strikers that can't get a goal between them. Absolutely spot on, Stuart. We cannot score goals. No, I have absolutely no confidence that we will score goals in open play. We've scored a goal today via a penalty that, I mean, in my opinion, it was a penalty. I mean, his arm's out and it's his elbow that knocks it out. So it's always going to be a penalty in today's day and age. But if we don't get that, do you see us really scoring a goal in this game?
No. And that's as we said, it's a scary part. It's like we could have played for 180 minutes, even when they're down to 10 men. We're not creating anything. But I can't remember, even watching the second half, I can't really remember any clear-cut chances.
I don't think there was any clear-cut chances. I mean, after Giga made that mistake, he had a chance from a corner, I believe, and glanced that one wide. But other than that, I can't remember us really creating anything.
Yeah, there's a couple of corners. I think Gassam had a shot for 20 yards that the keeper did well to save, put it into a corner. But apart from that, it's like, so who's at fault? Is it the attacking midfielders? Is it the strikers? I mean, we've got Gassam, who I think played okay, but again, he's not creating anything. Like, he didn't create.
He did put a few good balls across the face of goal, but Sharmiti is too slow to react. He doesn't gamble. It's almost as if he's the sort of striker that wants the ball to come to him and then he'll pounce, rather than saying, I'm going to gamble at the back post and I'm going to try and get the tap in. It might not always come off, but you need to gamble in order to give yourself the best possible chance of scoring. If you're going to wait there and wait for the ball to come to you, when the ball does come to you, then you've got about 3 or 4 players around you. I want to see him gambling, back post, easy tap in. You might not always get it, but if you make that run, you're going to drag defenders with you, and it might leave space for the midfielders to take up that space that he's currently occupying. So I need more from him. I need him to gamble more. I don't get that from him, and that's really, really, really frustrating. But it's not just him. I feel like that's just, the players in the squad. It's almost as if it's like, I need you to do more for me rather than me proactively looking to try and, find a space for the team. And it's just so frustrating. And I just cannot believe, it still baffles my brain how we've got ourselves into this position after the amount of money that we spent in the summer. I mean, the owners have got so much making up to do, and I don't blame the owners for this because I can understand it from their perspective. They're coming into a new club, a new environment. They've already got a CEO in place in Patrick Stewart, who has decided it's Kevin Thelwell that needs to lead this club in terms of the sporting side of it. I can understand them saying you've got 6 months to prove that you're right for this job, and this is it's easy in hindsight saying, "Oh, well, that's a fucking disaster," but they would not have known that at the time. That these so-called experts who've been at the Premier League level, Manchester United and Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell's been at the likes of Wolves and Everton, they would have probably thought, I mean, these guys should know what they're doing, but they have been so absolutely fucking useless. I cannot stress enough how useless they have been, and they put us in a situation that we're in now that is just absolutely just it's so beyond acceptable that we have got the owners have got so much making up to do in terms of, we need to go into that January transfer window and sign 5 or 6 players, and get rid of
the yeah, honestly, I don't think we will. I don't think we can afford it. Like, it pains me to say it, but we haven't.
The thing is, we've spent money on players, right? We spent 8 million on Shemiti. It's not all about spending money. It's about finding the right fit. You got to think, other leagues around the continent or around other continents are finished around about this time. So you got the likes of the Scandinavian leagues or the Japanese leagues or the American leagues. They're finished. Who can we get on a cheap deal that's actually going to be able to improve the squad? Because there's so many players in this squad that aren't good enough. It won't take that much to improve them. We just need to find some players away from the fucking the English Championship, the League Ones, the expensive leagues, where we can find players that potentially the players out of contract now, coming to the end of their contract, that we can get. I'm looking at a player. I need to find his name, but he plays for Leipzig. That he isn't playing that many games at the minute. Central midfielder. I'm like, he's 28. I'm like, he's out of contract in the summer. Can we get someone like him? Does Danny roll, obviously, with connections to Leipzig? Could we get players that aren't playing many games for Leipzig? Could we get them over for a bit of time to try and improve the squad to the end of the season? Because it's just unacceptable. The position that we have been put in is absolutely unacceptable. And I'm so happy that those 2 clowns have been sacked, but we're still left with the mess that they've left behind, and that has to be rectified as soon as possible. Because you look at that, you look at Ibrox today, right? That's not full, right? How many empty seats would there be today? Quite a considerable amount. It's a European night at home to Braga. Would there have been this many empty seats when we beat them in extra time when Ruth scored the winner a few years back? Absolutely not. The atmosphere was just different leagues. The atmosphere tonight was nowhere near the levels it can be because the fans have had enough. They are speaking with their feet. They're thinking windy night in Glasgow, nothing game. So, thousands of fans haven't turned up because they don't have confidence in the team that they're going to perform, and I don't blame them for it. To be honest, I don't blame them at all. So we get to some of the comments then.
Yeah, so just Stuart McDonald made some good points. So he said that last season we've could have signed Seema and Cherney for the price we've paid. For what we brought in, he reckons that almost every Rangers fan expects Piossi to score, so did I. But so it's going to sound paradoxical what I'm saying here. I don't think that individually we've bought. I don't think individually these guys are bad players. They'll probably go on and have good careers elsewhere, but just collectively they're not a good fit. It's like we've just brought in different personalities, different styles of play. It's like we've brought in players from the Championship and clubs that run a downward spiral, or they're not used. The demands for winning every game is not there, right? And it was the same. Guys like Aaron's. What was the first thing Aaron's just said was, "I don't like pressure." I mean, it's just like and then we brought in Asgard. Asgard's firing on all cylinders for Norway, right? Now
against like some Moldova.
I was going to say, albeit against Moldova, right? But at the same time, Jay, Norway are a good European consistent team that are always up thereabouts. They've qualified. They beat Italy twice, right? We Asgard, in the team and the squad, so they're no mugs. So Asgard must be highly rated, but he's done nothing. He's scored 1 goal, I think. and done nothing. I can't remember him. Like again tonight, I said in the previous show before. I can't remember him setting up a goal. I cannot remember a situation all season really where a midfielder has cut open a defence with 2 or 3 a pass or beat a couple of players and slid it into a striker to score. Right, so I don't know if it's the instructions they're getting or it's the style of play or I can't put my finger on it. I'm an amateur analyzer, right? But it doesn't take a professional footballer to understand the big issue with Rangers with mentality and the collective group. They're not a good fit with each other. They're not clicking into place. We've got a team of individuals right now. We don't have a team. Look at teams like Motherwell and St Mirren, who St Mirren are a bit of a bad run of form, don't get me wrong, right? But got to the League Cup final, good squad, no standout players. Motherwell, the boy from Motherwell scored 10 goals this season in the league.
Right? We've scored the 7th.
Scored twice at Parkhead.
We're 7th on the goals scored list in the Scottish Premiership this season. 7th.
I believe Falkirk has scored more goals.
We're third of the way through. Like that's where our problem is. If we were first, we'd be top of the league, but we're not. We're 7th. We can't score goals. But that's the be all and end all. If you can't score goals, you won't win football matches. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, we've not actually been that bad in terms of the goals that we've conceded. But our biggest problem for me is the goals that we're not scoring, and until we fix that problem, we're going to continue to struggle. If we had goal scorers in the team today, we'd have beat Braga. If we had creative players in the team players that complement each other, If you think back to some of the teams in the past, you got the Andy Coles and Dwight Yorks, where they complement each other for United in the treble-winning season of '99. If we had players that just complemented each other and were on the same wavelength, easily would have beaten this team. But it's almost as if we get to the final third and it's a bunch of fucking strangers out there trying to find a pass, but it's never on, and it's like they've never played with each other before. I feel like we really lack the patterns of play in the final third, and we're struggling because of it. For me, that's got to be the centre back position, and the left back position is also a massive worry. But we're not scoring goals. We can get a left back, we can get a couple of more centre backs in, but we're still not going to score goals. And we're not going to win matches.
There's no cohesion. We've got about 10 different nationalities in the team as well, and I'm all for that. But communication, language is going to be an issue at the club because you've got Gassam. I think English is our biggest nationality at the club right now. I think we've got four English players started tonight. Okay, but then look at the midfield. We've got Barron, Raskin, and Diomande. Right, all different cultures, different languages. The communication, they're not, and they don't play regularly with each other as well. We're chopping and changing the starting lineup every week as well. So there's no cohesion. They're not used to the way each other play, and the communicate. Now, football's a universal language. Don't get me wrong, but there has to be a communication issue as well when you've got three different nationalities in midfield trying to play alongside each other. We've just made some horrendous signings, and I've been saying about Danilo for 2 years. Right, this is not a thing like me, Danilo. We spent $5 million on Danilo, and I don't want to spare on the show, but let's call it out. He's shit, right? His biggest qualification for playing for Rangers, his dad dances at the games.
But he's our best finisher at the club, and that's how bad we are.
Yeah.
If there's anyone he missed his chance today, but if there's anyone that you put your hat on to score a goal like that, it would have been Danilo.
Miovski came on, and his sole contribution to the game was an inch away of giving away a penalty. He's lucky he slipped.
No,
that's it, right? And he put against 10 men. Now, I don't understand. It's really, really difficult for me to understand our tactics under Russell Martin, and now, to be fair, under Danny Rowe, because I don't how are we feeding the strikers? It's just a mixture of everything. It's I don't know if they're running. Miovski scored a lot of goals for Aberdeen by breaking the offside trap and running between two defenders. Now I can't remember one attempt to do that with us all season.
Mm.
So I don't understand the tactics right now when it comes to trying to score goals.
No,
It's
well,
just
we're so reliant on Gassama when
it's
we
what you see
go
that, yeah.
forward. Everything has to go through him because no one else has the ability to take a man on. So everything's going through him because he's got his raw pace, and and that's obviously extremely important when you go forward. But other than that, it's like we don't have anything else. That we haven't. We need a front three that are in sync, and we haven't got that. I thought we would have had that in the Pilsen home game when we had Gassama and Ant Man on either wing. I thought that was going to be a real combination there, but it just hasn't turned out to be the way. Ant Man has really let me down. I don't really know what he's good at. It's like he's really struggling with confidence. But he's not performing at
Whole
all. I
team
mean, when
is,
he came on, did he even do anything? Did he touch the ball? I don't even
but
know. So,
you know what, Jay, that's part of the problem. You've hit the nail on the head there. A lot of our players are frightened to take the ball on and get on the ball. And it's just so frustrating because they've got no confidence, and again, they need. We went 1-0 up. It's almost as if like they thought to themselves, "We won't win this." Because
complacency, honestly, like
no, I don't think it was complacency because you have to have that arrogance in the first place to become complacent. But it was so strange watching the game because it's almost as if they thought to themselves, "We don't deserve to." I'm trying to put it into words what I'm trying to say here, and it's difficult because after the game and passions are running high. But it's not. It's almost as if they thought to themselves, "We don't deserve to win this, or we aren't good enough to win this." So
I thought it was more. We're going to win this game regardless of what we do now. I don't
no,
think they feared conceding a goal, but then fucking Jigger pops up with like one of the assists of the season, just absolutely like completely just amateur defending. Honestly, it's so embarrassing. Like, why? And he's a lone player, right? So we have no ties to him, really, in terms of we have no loyalties to him. He needs to step up because he's here to add value immediately. He's not adding value. He's doing the opposite of adding value. He is creating chaos in the back line for us. We need rid of him in January. See you later. Go back to Wolves.
yeah.
Spend next year in the Championship or whatever. More your level. We need to find players that if they're not adding value right now, then they need to be our players that we can at least have some sort of control over their future because he's not adding value and he's not going to be our player in the future. He literally there's no point in him whatsoever playing for this club. Get rid of him. Get rid of Max Aarons and and let's get some proper players in that understand what it means to play for this club in January. Just going to go to some of the comments and only for home nations. Rangers need to win on Sunday. I mean, that is just we have to win on Sunday, and I have the confidence that we will win. Of course, I feel like the domestic scene at the minute under Danny Rowe is our best bet of getting results. Falkirk at home, but they're no mugs. They've just got promoted last season, but they're no mugs. Had a great result at the weekend. So
Jay,
it's going to be a
I'm
tough game.
sorry, just
We need to perform better than we
I
did
don't,
against Livy.
I don't think these players collectively would believe they've got the ability to win the league. Like honestly, like, it was great. We need to call it out. Like we lucky to beat Hibs, and we're lucky to beat Livingston. Now that's fine, but a lot to start off with. But I don't want to be a prophet of doom, and I hate being this guy. I really do because I want Rangers to win the league. I want Rangers to win 6-0 every game. But if we can't even not even beat Braga with 10 men, if we can't create a chance against a team with 10 men, which for I think we created one chance for a corner, and that's a set piece. But and it's so sad. It's so sad that we've got a group of players that collectively don't believe enough in their ability to win games.
Is it they don't believe enough in their ability, or they just don't have the ability to go and win games?
They got
I
absolutely
don't
got
even know if this is just they're lacking in confidence, or they're just so far away from being good enough that that it doesn't matter how much confidence they've got, they've just not got the ability, and that is just the end all of it. You know,
So
that's the way I
Simon,
feel at the minute. I feel like they literally do not have the ability to go and get a consistent run of games. They haven't got the ability to win in Europe. We can clearly see that 5 games in, we've not got a win under our belt, even against 10-man Braga, who were absolutely atrocious. But we're struggling through the likes of Livy at home. Let's see what happens at the weekend against Falkirk. But I feel like we just don't have the strength in the squad, and we just need to somehow get to January where we are no more than 5 points behind top of the table. If we get to the January transfer window, no more than 5 points behind, we have a chance. But at the minute, it feels like
here's the issue though.
Tough.
Right now, I could be talking utter bollocks here, right? But is it? I mean, I believe that we're only allowed to have so many people in the squad.
25-man squad, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, so we could have all the best intentions of going on out in the transfer market and buying 10 players, right? But we need to get rid of people.
Yeah, but I think at the end of January, you get to choose your squad again, basically. So if you got,
you can't afford to have 35 players.
Well, that's up to the owners. Like, how much money do they want to put in to rectify this issue? You know, like it's not their fault and is their fault at the same time, because they didn't hire Patrick Stewart, they didn't hire Kevin Thurwell, but they put their trust in them. They put their money on the wrong horse from the get go, and that is why we're in this situation. So if they want to gain the respect back of the fans and the backing of the fans, they're going to have to spend money in January, regardless of whether we have any outgoings or not. But we need to get rid of some. We need to get rid of Dowell. We need to get rid of Matondo and a number of other players. Because they're just adding no value, and then they're going to be on good money because they've come from the English leagues where it's just ridiculous how much they get paid. Even they could be playing in the Championship and on more money than our players are playing top of the Scottish Premiership and playing in Europe. So yeah. It's going to be a long few weeks, and I just hope that we can just and maybe it's a blessing in disguise, right? Maybe if we look at it towards the end of the season, not being in Europe for the second part of the European competitions would allow us to somehow get this team together and have a week on the training pitch and actually go out and really put a run of wins together towards the end of the season that we need in order to win the league. But I highly doubt it. Comment here from Steve McDonald to think we could have signed Seaman and Cherney for the price we paid for Shimiti, and I think this is what part of the problem. We saw Cherney didn't want to leave, really. He wanted to play for us this season. You could see it. Seema, again, you still see the stuff that he puts on Instagram about the club and stuff. He would have come back. You could have got both of them for the price of Shimiti. Would you have done it, Gordy?
Here's the thing, right? And I just want to bring in a comment. Simon's obviously got home now, he's watching. And he's made a comment about there were fans happy when Dessers left, which is incredible. 50-odd goals in 2 seasons. Now, I need to hold my hands up here and say, and I've said this in the group chat, and I've said it to Simon, said it to yourself, that I was never Dessers' biggest fan, right? But oh my God, I would take him back in an absolute heartbeat, right? I've got to be honest, I was never Dessers' biggest fan. Now, you can go back and read my message in the group chats over the last 2 seasons. However, so, at the time, would I have spent the money on Cherney? Given the fact that I wasn't sure about the finances at the club, would have probably cost 600 million. He's 28, I believe, 28 going to 29. Would I have signed him? At the time, perhaps not. I don't know. If we could got a good deal, maybe got for 4 or 5 million, yes. But now, I would have bite your hand off for 6 million. Given what we have bought. So, and Seema, I believe Seema went for 4 million or something. Is that right? Have I made that up?
I think it could have been 10 million for both Cherney and Seema. And then 8 million for Shimiti with obviously the add-ons going up to 10. Yeah. So
when you look at it like that, then it's a no-brainer. But I mean, to be honest, Cherney scored what? Between them, Cherney and I don't. take Egan out of the picture, right, for one moment, but Dessers and Czerny scored maybe 40 goals between them last season, and Dessers was still at the club. Dessers was already at the club, and Czerny would have cost 5 or 6 million, and Seaman would have cost another maybe 7-8 million with a couple of add-ons. So really, yeah, it's in hindsight, it's an absolute no-brainer. But I mean, Czerny, you've got to remember, Czerny went through a couple of bad spells with Rangers, but
He
again,
did.
he overall had a really good season.
But I feel like he always got over. So he had
Yeah,
a bad spell at the start. I remember the game against Leon when he missed from like 4 or 5 yards
yeah,
out and he went up the end and scored. And he looked like he was struggling, but he had the mental strength to get over that period and really, really kick on with us. We're not seeing that from any of our players currently. You look at
yeah,
Dessers, he got so much abuse from the fans, right? Because he missed chances. But at least he was able to create chances, right? Because of his movement and the way he could link with his teammates. We don't have
I mean,
any of that right now.
yeah,
I don't
and at
mind a
least
player missing a chance as long as they're in a position to actually have the chance in the first place, because eventually they're going to score the goal, and I feel like that was Dessers. Yes, we would have liked him to be more prolific and score more of his chances, but there's a bigger worry than a striker missing his chances, and that's a striker not getting chances in the first place, and that's the situation we're currently in. What real chance are our strikers getting? Is it because they haven't got the service from the likes of the Gasamas, the Antmans, the Asgards, or whoever, or is it the fact that they aren't making the runs? They haven't got the movement like a Dessers would have in order to get in a position to create the chances. That's the situation we're in.
It's honestly it's you've hit the nail on the head, but it's half and half. It's like a lot of the times maybe players like Gassam, Ant-Man, sometimes even Mikey Moore when he's fit, they're getting in good positions. But see when you look up, there's no one there.
No.
Right, it's a cross ball, and then but the other side of the coin is the strikers aren't making the runs, right? But when the strikers do make the occasional run, the ball's not there, because I think that the attacking midfielders are so used to not having these players make the runs, they don't even try anymore. So it's a strange combination.
I feel like we need to decide who our number one striker is. You got a comment here from Stu McDonald. I reckon 99% of our supporters expected Miovski to get goals. I would like to see Miovski start consistent games and try and build some sort of chemistry with Miovski, and because I don't have any trust in Shimiti whatsoever, I would rather go with Miovski for now and try to get some sort of combination with Gisama and Ant-Man or whoever's playing alongside him, so that we can work on our patterns of play in the final third for him to get goals, because he can score goals. We've seen he can score goals. I mean, my worry was the fact that he's playing for Aberdeen, where there's going to be spaces in behind for him to run into. And you saw against Livy, that's where he's at his best, when there's space to run in behind. But surely we can create a player that is able to also play against low blocks. But he needs to be given consistent game time. And I feel like the pressure of having an 8 million Shemiti on the bench is too much for any manager who's in charge of this football team to leave on the bench, which is making Miovski get, I don't know, like less minutes than he should, and he's not really getting up to speed as quickly as we would like. I feel like Miovski's a more experienced striker. Let's go for him for the time being, and focus on Shimiti later. I would send him out on loan on January, and maybe bring in another striker to try and get us to the end of the season in a respectable state, because.
The concern with that, though, Jay, and I couldn't agree more. And I've said it for weeks. I said it at the start. I said it in the preview show. I said it in the show on Tuesday night that Shemiti has to go out and loan and just bag in some goals. But unfortunately, the situation we're in as a club is that our priority has to be defenders. We've got Tavernier is going to be, as you said, 34, coming to the end of his contract. McGoma, Aaron's out of contract because they're on loan. Giga, crap. Fernandez, don't know. He played okay tonight. A couple of mistakes, but he was okay in general. Not long-term solution. Suter out of contract. Cornelius on loan. Yeah. So If you're Danny Rowe, right? The problem we've got at Rangers right now is we've got £20 million worth of strikers who are going to be difficult to replace. They are not scoring goals, but the other side of the coin is we don't have a defence in 6 months' time.
I know.
so what
at the
is
end
it
of
you
the day,
do?
we're not going to have a left back. We're not going to have Cornelius. We're not going to have Giga, even though that's a good thing.
My whole
Like,
defence.
but we're going to be suitors out of contract, so we're really sort of we're going to struggle. But
So if you're Danny Rowe, and now I don't want this is probably a conversation with our shows been on air for quite a while now, but the issue is what do you go for? Do you go for defenders or do you go for strikers? Because we can't.
you go for both.
In
Go for
January,
both. I tell you what,
we cannot afford. I tell you right now, because we've made no money for Europe this season. I tell you right now, as much as we've got new American owners, Jay, I'm telling you right now, we cannot go out and buy a whole new defence and a whole new attack in January.
but you can buy serious additions in January. I don't want to speak too much about them, but when the year after we won the league, and it was Ange Postecoglou's first season, in January, they bought Matt O'Reilly, Maeda, and Hatate. If we had those type of signings, 3 signings that could really transform our team in January, it can elevate us to a new level. You know,
They're not
you don't need
defenders.
to go and buy 8 or 9, a whole new squad, but you can potentially buy two forward players and a centre half that you know, a leader at the back that can at least get more out of a Giga or more out of Fernandez. You know, whichever side you want to play him on, and try to solidify us at the back. And then you got 2 players up front who are just top draw attackers who can create and score goals. It's because I think the best part of our squad is our midfield, right? So I don't necessarily feel like we need to go in and buy a midfielder, but I feel like if we can get another centre back or 2, well, thing is we also definitely need a left back, right? Because we can't have Max Evans playing there when McGovern isn't playing. We need a left back. We need at least 1 centre back, and we need a couple of attackers as well. If we can get 4 players in or 5, 2 centre backs, a left back, and 2 attackers, I feel like, but they have to be the right quality, right? They can't just be any attacker or defender. They have to be of the right quality. But if you're getting them, like the quality that we've seen from Yoho City when they did that a few years ago, if you're getting that level of quality in January, which can be possible, you just need to focus on the right markets. Then we can go and win this league. We're 9 points behind Hearts. However, we have a game in hand. We win that with 6 points behind.
Hearts. Like it's crazy to have 9 points behind Hearts, but
they're top of the league, you know, and they're getting altitude sickness or whatever it's called, so they're dropping points like mad. So
that's a real thing. Altitude sickness is a real thing, by the way.
It is a real thing, and clearly they're suffering from it, you know. But I feel like I don't know when we played them in December. We played them in December. I think it might be mid-December. I can't remember. But we could be in a position at that point in time to go level on points or potentially go above them the rate they're dropping points. So everything is still to play for. We're 5 points behind the other lot, you know, and they had a great result tonight, to be fair, but they have been struggling domestically. And they're going to get a new manager in. You don't know how things can unfold. They could really struggle on the new manager taking a new. Unfortunately, the American Russell Martin, hopefully, but you just don't know what's going to happen. So we need to be prepared to pounce on it, you know. So we have got to somehow get to January where we're not where we're not double figures behind the top of the table, and then we can just strengthen in order to really charge for this title, because it's there to win, because no one is really stamping their authority on it, and teams keep dropping points. If we can get some consistency, which we have started and need to continue against Falkirk at the weekend, I honestly fancy us, but I only fancy us if we get our January transfer business right, which I feel like we're owed a good transfer window.
Yeah, the problem we've got about that, Jay, is that if you look ahead at our fixtures, we've got in the next 6 or 7 weeks before we can actually get players in and settled at the club. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, really 10 league games, right? Which is a quarter of the season. So between now and January the 10th, we are playing 10 league games, right? Celtic away, Aberdeen twice, Hearts away, and we've got strikers that ain't scoring goals. So,
yeah, and we've got a few injuries in there in terms of Suter, Cornelius, and Mikey Moore as well.
Because see that defence today, that defence is going to be our defence, by and large for the next 6 or 7 weeks.
I know. You forget really how many league games you play in this period, in the festive period. There's a lot.
And I haven't even mentioned there's 2 European games and all.
Oh, I know. Fuck's sake.
So
honestly,
we've been on it
I would start playing the fucking kids. No, Curtis, those type of players should be playing in Europe now because we need to make sure that we're fit and firing for. I think it's mathematically impossible now for us to qualify for next round's Europa League. If we win our next 3 games, we'll have 10 points. That's not going to be possible to qualify with, surely.
Well,
surely.
mathematically, it's possible to do the London Marathon next year and win it. But it's realism. I think we have to be realistic.
There's no chance we're beating Porter away, mate. There's absolutely no chance we're beating Porter away. There's no way we're beating Porto.
Well, if we bring in all these wonder kids and all these strikers that we're going to buy in January, maybe we will. But
you never know. You never know.
Okay, we've been on here for almost an hour. We could talk about. Honestly, it's such a great thing to be able to talk about Rangers on this show with friends like yourself and Simon and Lewis and Ryan and all others as well. But I just feel as if saying it's so frustrating. Just a final comment for me, it's just so frustrating. Week in, week out, it's in the same things. I'm boring myself, but the fact of the matter is, it's when we're losing the same goals in the league week in, week out, when we're not scoring the goals week in, week out, it's really hard not to analyse it in a different way. So, disappointment tonight, frustration tonight. They were a poor team there for the taking, and it's just another nail in the coffin for me. And my opinion of our strike force. I'm really, really heartbroken that we get these players that I want to see succeed. I want them to score goals. I just don't see it. And It's really frustrating that we've had this new ownership. We've had a lot of money, and for wanting a bit of expression, we pissed it up against the wall. And we need to make amends for this. As you said, the January transfer window. We just need to grind out results between now and end of December. If we can do that, who knows? But tonight, overall, my gut feeling is disappointment, frustration, and it's hard to be optimistic based on what I've seen tonight.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to be optimistic. It's frustrating more than anything because when they went down to 10 men, even I thought, right, we need to kick on now, get the second goal, and good night. But it didn't happen that way. I think we should do a video. Move it like sort of over the next few weeks, looking at, because I remember Danny Rose said before a week or two ago before the international break about his traffic light system in terms of players that he wanted, players that were on the sort of the amber list and the players that were on the red list. I feel like we need to do a video to see who we would put on the green, amber, red list, because right now I'm telling you, I would put probably 80% of these players on the red list. I think every single player bar one of the new signings would be on that red list because they are absolutely atrocious. I feel like that is the reason Kevin Thurman and Patrick Stewart lost their job, and you can clearly see tonight that these players are not good enough if they can't beat 10-man Braga. 10 man after they were already 1-0 down, by the way, and we still managed to fuck it up. I feel like it's breaking me. It is breaking me. But
then we'll beat Falkirk 5-0 on Sunday, and everything will be right again. And then
Shamiti score hat-trick, happy days. He'll be the best striker in the league.
That's the beauty of football. So I think probably now is probably the right time to wrap up. That wee bit of positivity at the end of the show there.
Yeah.
Jake, thank you very much for your company tonight and your insight as always. It's been great. The GRCV will probably be back over the weekend and managed on Sunday. Hopefully a bit more positive. But you know,
Yeah,
it is what it is. So
let's go get the 3 points on Sunday and keep climbing the league table because that's our priority this season. Onwards and upwards. It's been a very, 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 very frustrating and disappointing night. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Jers TV, and we will see you on the next one. Bye for now.